1 month after first contact, General Sun stood before a wall of screens showing military leaders from around the world. The underground command center hummed with activity as analysts tracked alien movements on large digital maps. "Today we launch Operation Thunderstrike," General Sun announced. "Simultaneous attacks on all Vorax positions. For the first time, we fight as one planet." Colonel Ta pointed to the map. "Each region has its targets. Asia will strike their command centers. Europe will target their landing zones. America will attack their supply ships." "What about their air superiority?" asked the Russian general. Colonel Ta smiled. "We have that covered." Hannah hurried through the science complex with June, carrying tablets with their latest findings. "Are the communication disruptors ready?" she asked a technician. "Yes, Dr. Kim. All units worldwide are in position. They can block Vorax signals for 40 minutes now." June checked his watch. "That's double what we had last week. It should be enough time." They entered a large room where Lieutenant Min stood with her team. Min had become a hero after capturing Commander Krav. Now she prepared for an even more important mission. "Is everything ready?" Min asked. Hannah nodded. "We've unlocked the control codes from the data you captured. When the disruptors activate, the Vorax ships won't be able to communicate with each other. And the weapons." June pointed to crates of modified alien guns. "These will pierce their armor. And the bigger surprise is ready too." Min's team began checking their equipment. They had trained with the alien weapons for weeks. They were no longer just soldiers. They were humanity's best hope. Captain Drell paced nervously on the bridge of the Devastator *. Nothing was going as planned. Commander Krav's capture had been a disaster. The humans were learning Vorax tactics too quickly. "Sir," Officer Vex reported, "our ground forces are facing increased resistance worldwide. The humans have copied our shield technology and energy weapons." Drell slammed his fist on a console. "Impossible. How could primitives understand our technology so quickly?" "There's more, sir. Our spies report they built some kind of signal disruptor." "What do you mean?" "They can temporarily block our ship-to-ship communications." Drell's 4 eyes widened. "When?" Suddenly, all screens on the bridge went dark. Emergency lights flashed on. "Sir, we've lost contact with all ships," Vex shouted. "Raise the shields. Prepare for attack," Drell ordered. But it was too late. Across the globe, the human counterattack began precisely at the same moment. As alien communications went dark, thousands of fighters rose from hidden bunkers. They carried weapons that glowed with the same blue energy as Vorax guns. In Seoul, Lieutenant Min led 500 soldiers toward the main alien base. They moved through tunnels beneath the city, emerging directly under the Vorax position. "Remember," Min told her team, "aim for their breathing apparatus. Their helmets are their weakness." Above them, the aliens were in chaos without their communication systems. They had never trained to fight individually. The Vorax always relied on central command. In the skies over major cities, the humans unveiled their biggest surprise. Hundreds of aircraft rose, but they didn't look like Earth planes anymore. They had been rebuilt with salvaged Vorax technology, faster, stronger, with energy shields glowing around them. General Sun watched from the command center as human pilots engaged Vorax ships. For the first time, it was a fair fight. "They never expected this," Colonel Ta said, watching the battle unfold. "They thought we would surrender like all the others." "The Vorax made a fatal mistake," General Sun replied. "They studied our television and entertainment. They saw our divisions and conflicts, but they failed to understand what those conflicts created." "And what's that, sir?" "A species that has spent its entire existence perfecting the art of war. A planet full of soldiers who have trained for this moment without even knowing it." On the screens, Vorax ships began to fall from the sky as human fighters swarmed them from all sides. The tide had turned. Earth was fighting back. The sky over Seoul burned with strange lights as Colonel Ta rushed through the military headquarters. Alarms blared everywhere. Soldiers ran to their positions. He had been woken just 30 minutes ago, with news that seemed impossible. Aliens were attacking Earth. Status report, Colonel Ta demanded as he entered the command center. Major Du looked up from his screens, face pale. Sir, we have 5 unknown craft hovering over the city. Similar reports coming in from Tokyo, Beijing, New York, London, and 20 other major cities. Colonel Ta studied the radar. The alien ships formed a perfect circle around Seoul. What are they doing? Nothing yet. They're just waiting. Suddenly, all screens in the command center flickered. A harsh, mechanical voice spoke in broken Korean. Attention, humans. Your planet is now under control of the Vorax Dominion. Surrender all weapons. Resist and be destroyed. Colonel Ta grabbed a radio. All units, defensive positions. Prepare to engage unknown hostiles. On the Devastator *, Captain Drell watched the invasion unfold. The first wave had secured the Pacific military base easily. Now the second wave surrounded Earth's major cities. Sir, we're detecting military responses in all target cities, reported Officer Vex. Expected, Drell said calmly. Begin the show of force. Destroy their tallest structures in each city. Vex looked uncomfortable. Sir, our scouts report that these humans have advanced nuclear weapons. They could cause us damage. Drell's eyes narrowed. Are you suggesting primitives could harm our ships? No, sir. But they seem more prepared than our previous conquests. Then we'll give them a proper demonstration of Vorax power. Hana arrived at the government bunker beneath Seoul just as the first attack began. The building shook with distant explosions. Inside, chaos reigned. Military and civilian leaders argued loudly. Screens showed Namsan Tower collapsing in flames. Director Park spotted Hana. Dr. Kim, we need your help. The aliens are broadcasting on frequencies we can't fully decode. Hana set up her equipment. June arrived minutes later, bringing hard drives from their observatory. The signal patterns changed when the attack began, June explained, connecting the drives. I think they're using different systems for warfare than for travel. Hana nodded. If we can understand their communications, maybe we can predict their next move. Colonel Ta watched from a rooftop as Korean fighter jets engaged the alien ships. The jets fired missiles that seemed to do nothing against the invaders' shields. Pull back the aircraft, he ordered into his radio. They're just wasting ammunition. In response, one alien ship fired a blue beam. 3 jets exploded midair. Colonel Tae's radio crackled. Sir, ground forces report the aliens are landing troops near the Han River. What do they look like? Tall, gray-skinned. 4 eyes. They have energy weapons that cut through our armor like paper. Colonel Ta made a quick decision. Fall back to position Delta. Use the underground tunnels. If their ships are that powerful, we need to fight where they can't use their air advantage. Captain Drell frowned at the battle reports. The humans were retreating in all cities, but something was wrong. They weren't panicking as expected. Sir, Vex said, ground forces in the human city Seoul report organized resistance. The humans are using their underground systems to move troops. Send in the hunter squads, Drell ordered. Also, sir, the human military in Russia and United States have moved their nuclear weapons to launching positions. Drell stood up, surprised. They would destroy their own cities. Intelligence suggests they value freedom over survival. For the first time, Drell felt a flicker of uncertainty. The previous 17 species had surrendered within hours when faced with Vorax technology. Send a message to the Dominion Council, Drell said slowly. The conquest is proceeding as planned, but request additional forces. These humans are unusual. In the bunker, Hannah stared at her screen in shock. What is it? June asked. I've decoded part of their transmissions, she whispered. They're not just attacking us. They're planning to stay, to take the planet. They've done this before, to other worlds. Can you find any weaknesses? Hannah pointed to signal patterns on her screen. Their communications have regular pulses. There's a pattern here that might be a vulnerability. Director Park leaned over her shoulder. Keep working. It might be our only hope. Outside, Seoul burned as the Vorax began their ground assault. But humanity wasn't surrendering. The fight for Earth had just begun. High above Earth, a fleet of converted Vorax ships approached the massive alien command carrier. Inside the lead ship, Colonel Taz supervised the boarding operation. Earth's first space assault force was ready, wearing modified Vorax spacesuits. "We'll dock in 3 minutes," said the pilot, a former Air Force captain who had learned to fly alien craft in just 2 weeks. "Remember the mission," Colonel Tai told his team. "Our goal is their central database. We need to know everything about the Vorax, their homeworld, their fleet positions, their weaknesses." The humans had learned quickly that information was as valuable as weapons. Now they needed to know what other threats awaited them in the stars. In the underground bunker, Hannah received surprising news. The medical team had found Lieutenant Min's crashed fighter. Against all odds, the pilot was alive, though badly injured. "She's stable," the doctor reported. "She'll need months of recovery, but she'll live." Hannah felt tears in her eyes. So many had died already. Every victory seemed to come with a terrible cost. June touched her shoulder. "We have work to do, sister. Colonel Tae's team will be sending data soon. We need to be ready." Hannah nodded and returned to her station. On her screens, she could see Earth forces pushing the Vorax back on all fronts. The alien invasion was failing, something the Vorax had never experienced before. Captain Drell reached his escape pod, heart pounding. Behind him, alarms blared throughout the Devastator asterisk. Human forces had disabled the ship's engines. It was only a matter of time before they breached the command deck. As Drell prepared the launch sequence, Officer Vex entered the small pod chamber. "Sir, what are you doing?" Vex asked. "Saving the last senior commander," Drell replied. "Someone must tell the Dominion what happened here." "You're abandoning your crew." Drell's 4 eyes narrowed. "I'm preserving vital intelligence. The Dominion must know what these humans are capable of." Vex's hand moved to his weapon. "The crew needs leadership. You can't." Drell fired first. Vex fell to the floor, his expression showing more disappointment than pain. "The Dominion must know," Drell repeated to himself, climbing into the pod. He launched quickly, his small craft shooting away from the doomed warship. Colonel Tae's team successfully docked with the Vorax command carrier. To their surprise, resistance was lighter than expected. Many Vorax were already retreating, shocked by how quickly the battle had turned against them. "This way to the data center," said a soldier, following the map they had extracted from a captured Vorax device. They moved through the ship's corridors, disabling any Vorax they encountered with stunning weapons. Earth's leaders had decided that unnecessary killing would stop. They wanted to show they were better than their invaders. Finally, they reached a massive room filled with glowing data terminals. Tai ordered his tech team forward. They connected Earth devices to the alien computers and began downloading everything. "Sir, you should see this," called one technician, pointing to a screen filled with alien text that their translation software was processing. Colonel Ta looked at the translated information and felt a chill. "Download everything. Hannah and Jun need to see this immediately." Hannah and Jun stared at their screens as the Vorax data poured in. What they saw shocked them to their core. "They've done this 17 times before," Hannah said, her voice quiet. 17 other worlds. The database contained detailed records of the Vorax Dominion's previous conquests. Images showed peaceful species, most looking nothing like humans. Each world had been carefully selected for one important reason. They only invaded planets without strong military traditions, Joan realized. Species that had evolved beyond warfare or never developed it in the first place. More data arrived, including the Vorax's initial assessment of Earth. They had detected television broadcasts, observed human satellites, and concluded that Earth was just emerging into space, an easy target in their experience. They didn't understand us at all, Hannah said. They saw our movies and thought they were just entertainment. They didn't realize they were watching thousands of years of military thinking. On another screen, they saw images of the Vorax homeworld and their main fleet positions. Earth now had everything it needed for what would come next. They made a terrible mistake, Jim said. They chose the one planet in this part of the galaxy that has never known true peace. Hannah nodded sadly. And now the stars will never be the same. 6 months after the invasion began, world leaders gathered in the newly rebuilt United Nations building in New York. The room buzzed with energy as representatives from every nation on Earth met to decide humanity's future among the stars. General Sun, now head of Earth's Unified Defense Forces, stood at the podium. Beside him were Colonel Ta, a recovering Lieutenant Min seated in a wheelchair, and June and Hannah Kim, now celebrated worldwide for their contributions to Earth's victory. The Vorax invasion has been defeated, General Sun announced. Their remaining forces have retreated beyond our solar system. For the first time in history, all nations of Earth fought as one. And we won. Applause filled the hall. On screens behind the stage, images showed captured Vorax ships being studied in facilities around the world. Human scientists and engineers worked side by side, no longer divided by borders or politics. But our work is not finished, General Sun continued. The Vorax database revealed 17 other worlds that have been conquered and enslaved, peaceful species who could not defend themselves as we did. Colonel Ta stepped forward. We now possess Vorax technology. We can build ships capable of reaching those worlds. The question before us today is, what will Earth do with this power? Far across the galaxy, Captain Drell stood before the Vorax Dominion Council. His escape pod had reached a Vorax outpost, and he had been rushed to the homeworld to report. You abandoned your fleet, High Commander Zox accused. You ran while your soldiers died. I came to warn you, Drell insisted. These humans are unlike any species we've encountered. They learn too quickly. They adapt. They turn our own weapons against us. So you claim this primitive planet defeated our forces? Another council member asked skeptically. They did more than defeat us, Drell said, his voice shaking. They captured our command carrier intact. They have our database, our star charts, our technology. For the first time, fear showed in the council members' eyes. And worst of all, Drell continued, they know about the other worlds we've conquered. They know everything. Back on Earth, the vote was unanimous. Humanity would use its new knowledge and technology not for conquest, but for liberation. The Terran Defense Alliance is hereby established, announced the Secretary General. Our mission will be to free the 17 worlds enslaved by the Vorax and to protect Earth from future threats. General Sun, Colonel Tai, and Lieutenant Min were named military commanders of the new alliance. June and Hannah would lead the Xenotechnology Institute, dedicated to understanding and adapting alien science. After the ceremony, Hannah found Lieutenant Min looking out a window at the stars. Are you ready for your new role? Hannah asked. Min smiled. Her injuries were healing, though she would always walk with a limp. I never imagined I would help lead humanity to the stars. What do you think we'll find out there? I don't know, Min replied. But I hope we can be better than the Vorax. We know how to fight, but we also know about freedom and justice. Hannah nodded. The Vorax thought we were just primitive warriors. They didn't understand that humans can be both fierce and compassionate. 1 year after the invasion, the first human starships were ready. Built from modified Vorax technology, they were faster and more powerful than anything the aliens had used against Earth. General Sun stood with Colonel Tai on the bridge of the flagship Defender *. Through the view screen, they watched as 20 other ships prepared for humanity's first journey beyond the solar system. "Are we ready for this?" Colonel Tai asked quietly. "We have to be," Sun replied. "There are 17 worlds waiting for freedom." The fleet moved into position. The coordinates of the nearest enslaved world were set. "All ships report ready, General," said the communications officer. General Sun took a deep breath. "Send this message to the Vorax Dominion. The humans are coming." And we do not forget. The ships accelerated into the darkness between stars. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was the birthplace of a new power in the galaxy, one born in fire, tempered by invasion, and now dedicated to bringing freedom to the stars. The Vorax had made a terrible mistake. They had invaded a world called Earth, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Captain Drell stood on the bridge of the Vorax warship Devastator *, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet spinning on the main screen. His gray skin tightened with excitement. This would be an easy conquest. "Report," Drell commanded, his voice rough and deep. "The planet is rich in water, minerals, and suitable atmosphere," replied First Officer Vex. "Scans show primitive technology. They have basic space travel, but nothing beyond their own moon. Weapons are mainly chemical-based explosives and simple energy weapons." Drell made a sound of satisfaction. The Vorax Dominion had conquered 17 worlds, and none had offered real resistance. This blue world would be number 18. "Begin the invasion protocol," ordered Drell. "I want this planet secured within 1 standard cycle." On Earth, in a small observatory outside Seoul, Jung Kim adjusted his telescope. Next to him, his sister Hannah typed rapidly on her computer. Both were astronomers at Seoul National University. "The signals are getting stronger," Hannah said, frowning at her screen. "These are definitely not natural." June looked up from his telescope. "Show me the pattern again." Hannah turned her screen. The signal pattern was too regular, too precise to be anything but artificial, and it was coming from just beyond Mars. "We need to call someone," Jun said, reaching for his phone. "Who will believe us?" Hannah asked. "Remember what happened to Dr. Lee when he reported strange signals last year? Everyone thought he was crazy." "We have more proof now," Jun insisted. "We have to try." 2 days later, Jun and Hannah sat in a government office in Seoul. 5 serious faces stared back at them across a long table. "So you're saying aliens are coming to Earth?" asked Director Park, his voice heavy with doubt. "The signals are unmistakable," Hannah explained, showing her data. "They're not trying to hide. These are engine signatures of large ships approaching Earth at incredible speed. If they wanted to talk, they would have sent messages," June added. "They're being quiet for a reason." Director Park exchanged looks with the military officer beside him. "We'll investigate your claims, but don't speak to anyone about this. No social media, no press." Captain Drell reviewed the invasion map. The first strike would target military bases to disable Earth's defenses. The second wave would secure major cities. "Sir, we're detecting active scanning from the planet," reported a Vorax technician. "They may have noticed our approach." Drell waved a dismissive hand. "It doesn't matter. By the time they understand what's happening, we'll be in control of their major power centers." "Sir, our scouts report that this species appears unusually aggressive. Their historical records show constant warfare among themselves." Drell laughed. "That will make it easier. They're divided and fight each other. Ready the first wave. Strike the isolated military base on the island in the large ocean first." Hannah was awakened by her phone ringing at 3 a.m. It was June. "Turn on the news," he said, his voice shaking. "It's happening." Hannah switched on her TV. Breaking news showed chaos at a U.S. military base in the Pacific. Strange lights, explosions, and what looked like falling stars hitting the ocean around the island. Her phone buzzed with an emergency alert. The government was calling all essential personnel to report immediately. As an expert on the signals, Hannah was now needed. She dressed quickly, hands trembling. As she grabbed her keys, a bright flash lit up the night sky outside her window. She looked up to see multiple streaks of light breaking through the clouds above Seoul. Her phone rang again. It was Director Park. "Dr. Kim, get to the secure facility immediately. It's happening everywhere. They're not just studying us. They're attacking." Hannah's throat went dry. "Who's attacking?" "We don't know who they are," Director Park said, the sound of alarms blaring behind him. "But they're hitting major cities worldwide. Seoul is a target. Get somewhere safe. We need your expertise." As Hannah rushed to her car, more lights filled the sky. The ground shook with distant explosions. Earth's first contact with alien life wasn't peaceful. It was an invasion. And humanity wasn't ready. Captain Drell stood before the Council's hologram, his posture rigid with fear. The 7 Vorax leaders stared at him with cold fury. "You have failed," said High Commander Zox. "Humans now control 60% of their planet's surface. They have shot down 15 of our ships. This is unacceptable." "High Commander, these humans are unlike any species we've conquered," Drell pleaded. "They learn too quickly. They've copied our technology." "Enough excuses," Zox's voice boomed. "The Dominion cannot accept defeat from primitives. You will use the atmospheric incinerators." Drell's 4 eyes widened. "But those are forbidden weapons. The Council banned their use after the destruction off. The ban is lifted for Earth. These humans must be taught their place. Deploy the weapons over their largest cities. Show no mercy." The hologram disappeared, leaving Drell alone with the terrible order. In the underground war room, Hannah burst in with urgent news. General Sun and Colonel Ta looked up from their battle maps. "The Vorax are bringing in new ships," Hannah said, showing images on her tablet, "much larger than anything we've seen before." Colonel Ta studied the pictures. "What are they?" "We don't know, but Commander Krav is talking." The captured Vorax commander had finally broken after weeks of questioning. Not from torture. Humans had simply shown him their history books, filled with centuries of warfare. He realized what the Dominion had awakened. "Krav says they're carrying atmospheric incinerators," Hannah explained. "Weapons that can burn a city's air, killing everyone inside. They're forbidden by Vorax law, but they're desperate now." General Sun's face darkened. "Where will they deploy them?" "Major population centers: Beijing, Tokyo, New York, London, and Seoul." June worked frantically with his team to analyze the new Vorax ships. They had less than 12 hours before the weapons would be in position. "The incinerators create a chain reaction in the atmosphere," June explained to the Emergency Council. "Once started, it burns all oxygen in a 50-mile radius." "Can we stop them?" asked Colonel Ta. "Maybe. The weapon needs to activate for 3 minutes before the reaction becomes self-sustaining. If we can interrupt it during that window, we might prevent the full effect." "And how do we interrupt it?" June looked grim. "We need to hit it with a precise electromagnetic pulse while it's charging, but that means getting very close to the weapon." "Suicide missions," Colonel Ta said softly. "Not necessarily. We've modified 6 of our captured Vorax fighters with the equipment needed. But yes, it's extremely dangerous." General Sun nodded slowly. "Find me pilots." Lieutenant Min volunteered immediately. She would lead the Seoul defense team. Similar teams formed around the world as humanity prepared for its most desperate hour. "The plan is simple," Min told her 5 pilots. "We fly directly at the weapon ship when it begins charging. We fire the EMP device at exactly the right moment." "And if we're too late?" asked one pilot. "Then millions die, including us." The pilots nodded. They understood the stakes. Captain Drell watched as the weapon ships moved into position above Earth's major cities. He felt sick giving the order, but his own life was at stake. "Begin charging the incinerators," he commanded. Officer Vex hesitated before relaying the order. "Sir, is this necessary? We could retreat. Tell the Council that." The Council doesn't accept failure. Vex, you know what happens to those who disappoint them. Vex nodded and sent the command. Around the world, the Vorax weapon ships began to glow with red energy. In Shanghai, New York, and London, human defense teams scrambled their modified fighters. Lieutenant Min's team took off from a hidden airfield outside Seoul. Their 6 ships were small compared to the massive Vorax weapon vessel hovering over the city. Remember the timing, Min said over the radio. Too early, the pulse won't disrupt the chain reaction. Too late, and it's already started. The red glow from the alien ship intensified. Energy patterns swirled in the air beneath it. It's starting, Min said. All ships, attack formation. We have 3 minutes to save Seoul. The 6 human pilots accelerated toward the alien weapon, knowing that similar scenes were playing out over cities across the globe. It was humanity's darkest hour, but they would not surrender. Not while they still had the will to fight. 3 days after the invasion began, General Sun arrived at the emergency Asian defense meeting in a bunker beneath the mountains outside Seoul. Military leaders from South Korea, Japan, China, India, and 5 other Asian nations sat around a table. Their faces showed exhaustion but determination. The aliens control the skies in most major cities, General Sun said, pointing to a map, but they don't control everything. Not yet. Colonel Ta, now working directly under General Sun, added, their ground troops are strong but not unlimited. They didn't expect to need many. They thought we would surrender quickly. The Chinese general nodded. We've managed to capture some of their weapons. Our scientists are studying them now. Same in India, said the Indian commander. We've also shot down a small scout ship. The technology is unlike anything we've seen, but not impossible to understand. General Sun smiled slightly. The Vorax made a serious mistake. They studied our public broadcasts and thought we were divided. They didn't realize that humans always unite against outside threats. Captain Drell couldn't believe the reports. 3 days into what should have been an easy conquest, and the Vorax had lost control of 2 landing zones. A scout ship had been shot down. Humans had captured Vorax weapons and were already learning to use them. How is this possible? He demanded. They're primitives. Officer Vex looked worried. Sir, we've analyzed their communications. All human nations are now working together. They're sharing information about our weapons, our tactics. Impossible. Their history shows thousands of years of fighting each other. Yes, sir, that may be the problem. They have more experience with war than any species we've encountered. Drell's communicator beeped. It was the Dominion Council. Captain Drell, said the cold voice of High Commander Zox, explain why a primitive planet is not yet under control. Drell tried to sound confident. Minor setbacks, High Commander. The humans are surprisingly resistant, but we will prevail. You have 4 more days, Captain. After that, we send in the real fleet. In the underground lab outside Seoul, Jun worked with scientists from around the world. They had set up a video conference system to share discoveries about alien technology. The power source is here, said an American scientist, showing a diagram of the captured alien weapon. It uses some kind of energy crystal we've never seen before. A Russian scientist added, but the firing mechanism is simple enough. We've already copied it and are making our own versions. Jun pointed to his screen. The most important part is their communication system. My sister Hannah has found a pattern we can use. Across the room, Hannah was explaining her findings to military leaders. Their ships all connect to each other using this frequency, she said, showing a pattern on her screen. If we can disrupt it, their coordination will fail. How do we disrupt it? Asked Colonel Ta. We need to build transmitters that can send the right interference pattern. Hannah explained. The materials are common. We can build hundreds within days. General Sun addressed the United Asian Defense Coalition 1 week after the invasion began. The Vorax thought they found an easy target, he said. They were wrong. Humanity has faced disasters, wars, and threats throughout our history. We've always survived. He showed a map of Earth with red dots showing alien positions and blue areas showing human-controlled regions. We've lost cities, but not our spirit. Reports from Europe and America show the same progress we're making here. Humans are adapting, learning, and fighting back. Colonel Taj stood up. We have new weapons based on their technology. We have a plan to disrupt their communications. Most importantly, we have something they don't understand: the will to protect our home at any cost. Tomorrow, General Sun announced, we launch our first coordinated counterattack. The Voraks think they know humans. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Around the world, in bunkers and hideouts, humans prepared. Scientists built new weapons. Soldiers trained with captured alien technology. The Voraks had expected an easy victory against a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened a planet of warriors who had spent their entire history perfecting the art of war. The real fight for Earth was just beginning. Lieutenant Min's fighter raced toward the massive Voraks weapon ship hovering over Seoul. The alien vessel glowed bright red as it charged its atmospheric incinerator. 5 other human pilots followed close behind her. 2 minutes until full charge, reported a technician from the bunker. You need to get closer, Lieutenant. Min pushed her ship faster. The controls vibrated under her hands. Her fighter was a strange mix of human and alien technology, hastily built for this desperate mission. Enemy fighters approaching, warned one of her pilots. 3 o'clock. A squadron of Vorak ships moved to intercept them. Red energy beams cut through the sky. Focus on the mission, Min ordered. I'll handle the escorts. She banked her ship sharply, drawing enemy fire while the other 5 pilots continued toward the weapon. 2 Voraks fighters followed her. Min smiled grimly. This was what she had trained for. On the ground below, Jun worked frantically with his team. They monitored the weapon's energy signature, watching as it built toward the deadly threshold. The EMP needs to hit exactly when the energy peaks, Jun said. Not before. Hana stood beside him, eyes fixed on the screens. They'll make it. They have to. Over Shanghai, the human defense team had already failed. The atmospheric incinerator had activated fully. On their screens, they watched in horror as the city's air itself seemed to catch fire. Millions of lives were being lost in minutes. Seoul team, you're our last hope. General Sun's voice came over the radio. New York and London teams succeeded. Tokyo team failed. We cannot lose Seoul too. Lieutenant Min executed a tight loop, coming up behind the Voraks fighters that had been chasing her. She fired her weapons, modified alien blasters that burned through the enemy ships. 1 minute to full charge, came the warning. Min turned her ship back toward the weapon. The 5 other pilots were almost in position, but more Voraks fighters were closing in. I'll clear your path, Min told her team. Get those EMPs ready. She accelerated directly into the path of the approaching Voraks squadron. It was a reckless move, but the only way to buy her team the seconds they needed. In the Devastator *, Captain Drull received the alarming reports. Weapon deployment failed in New York and London, Officer Vex reported. Shanghai successful. Tokyo successful. Seoul under attack. How? Drell demanded. How are they stopping our most powerful weapons? Sir, they've modified our own technology. They're using electromagnetic pulses to disrupt the incinerator charging sequence. Drell's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. That's impossible. No species has ever reverse-engineered Voraks technology so quickly. This one has, Vex said quietly. And there's more bad news. Our main fleet reports human ships approaching. What human ships? They don't have space vessels. They do now. They've converted our landing craft into attack ships. They're heading for our command carrier. General Sun watched as Lieutenant Min's fighter took hit after hit, drawing enemy fire away from her team. The brave pilot's ship was smoking, systems failing, but she kept fighting. 30 seconds to full charge, reported a technician. The 5 remaining human pilots reached firing position. They launched their EMP devices simultaneously. 5 glowing blue projectiles streaked toward the Vorax weapon ship. "Direct hits," shouted Colonel Ta. All 5 EMPs on target. The weapon ship's red glow flickered, then began to fade. The deadly chain reaction was disrupted before it could become self-sustaining. "Seoul is saved," announced General Sun. "What about Lieutenant Min?" asked Hana. On their screens, Min's damaged fighter was falling from the sky, trailing smoke. No ejection was visible. Captain Drell stood stunned as reports flooded in. 3 of 5 incinerators had failed. Human forces were counterattacking worldwide. And now, somehow, they had ships in space. "Sir," Vex said urgently, "the humans have breached our command carrier. They're boarding." "Impossible. How could they?" "They used our own docking codes, the ones from Commander Crab's ship." For the first time in his career, Captain Drell felt real fear. The Vorax had conquered 17 worlds with ease. None had ever fought back effectively. None had ever turned Vorax technology against them. But Earth was different. These humans weren't just defending their planet. They were taking the fight to the stars. "Prepare my escape pod," Drell ordered. "The Dominion must be warned about what we've awakened here." 2 weeks after the invasion began, Lieutenant Min crouched behind a burned-out car. 5 other soldiers waited with her, all wearing makeshift armor pieced together from Korean military gear and captured alien tech. They were 3 blocks away from a Vorax command ship that had landed in what used to be Seoul's Central Park. Everyone remembered the plan. Lieutenant Min whispered, "We go in silent. Our target is the ship's data center." The soldiers nodded. Each carried a combination of human and alien weapons. They had trained for this mission for 5 days. Lieutenant Min checked her watch. "Distraction begins in 3 minutes. Get ready." Right on time, explosions erupted on the far side of the park. The Vorax guards turned toward the noise. Min signaled, and her team sprinted forward, using the aliens' own sound-dampening technology to move in near silence. Inside the Devastator Asterisk, Captain Drell stood before a holographic display of High Commander Zox. The commander's 4 eyes glowed with anger. "You promised conquest in 1 cycle," Zox hissed. "It has been 2 weeks by Earth time, and you control less than 40% of the planet." "The humans are unlike any species we've encountered," Drell tried to explain. "They're adapting to our technology, using our own weapons against us." "Excuses. The Vorax Dominion has conquered 17 worlds without such problems. Those worlds were peaceful. These humans have spent their entire history fighting wars. They know battle better than we do." Zox's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying primitives are superior to Vorax?" "No, High Commander. But they are different. They don't fear death like other species. They keep fighting even when victory seems impossible. Perhaps you need motivation, Captain. You have 1 more week. Succeed or face replacement. And you know what happens to failed Vorax captains." The hologram disappeared, leaving Drell alone with his fear. In Washington, D.C., American scientists worked with Hannah via video call. They had created the communication disruptors she designed. "The tests are successful," said Dr. Wilson, the American team leader. "We can block their signals for about 20 minutes before they adapt." Hannah nodded. "That should be enough time. The Special Forces teams only need a few minutes inside their ships." On another screen, Jun appeared. "Hannah, we've decoded more of their database. The Vorax have conquered 17 other worlds before Earth." "What kind of worlds?" Hannah asked. "Peaceful ones, species with little or no history of warfare. We're the first real fight they've had in centuries." Hannah smiled grimly. "Then they chose the wrong planet to invade." Lieutenant Min's team reached the alien ship's entrance. 1 soldier placed small devices on the hull that would disrupt the ship's sensors. Another used a captured alien tool to open an access panel. "We have 15 minutes before they notice the sensor blind spot," Min whispered. They slipped inside the darkened corridor. 2 Vorax guards appeared around a corner. Min fired her modified weapon. It made almost no sound, but the guards fell instantly. Alien weapon signatures detected. Came a mechanical voice over the ship's speakers. Intruder alert. So much for surprise, Min said. Plan B, move fast. The team raced through corridors, following the map they had memorized from a captured Vorax tablet. They reached a door marked with alien symbols. This is it. The command center. Min placed explosive charges on the door. The team took cover, then the door blew inward. They rushed inside, weapons ready. 3 Vorax officers turned in shock. One reached for a weapon but fell to Min's shot. The other 2 raised their hands in surrender. Secure the room, Min ordered. Download everything from their computers. One soldier began connecting devices to the alien terminals. Another guarded the prisoners. Lieutenant, look at this, called a soldier, pointing to a screen showing a Vorax with elaborate uniform markings. Min recognized the insignia from their intelligence briefings. That's a Vorax commander, the high-ranking one. He's 2 levels down, in what appears to be their strategy room. Min made a quick decision. Change of plans. We're taking a prisoner, the most valuable one on this ship. Captain Drell received the alarming news while preparing his report to the Council. Humans have breached Command Ship 7. Impossible. Officer Vex looked terrified. Sir, it's worse. They've captured Commander Krav, our highest-ranking field officer on this planet. For the first time, real fear gripped Drell. The humans weren't just resisting. They were hunting Vorax leadership. What kind of species had they underestimated?